Welcome to the Daily Gospel Talk Show with your host, George Sanders. The talk show and podcast dedicated to spotlighting great people doing great things. This is your opportunity for inspiration, motivation, and encouragement. So without further delay, let's get ready for another incredible episode of the Daily Gospel Talk Show with your host, George Sanders.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another incredible segment of the Daily Gospel Talk Show. I'm your host, George Sanders, and today we have an amazing show. Today I have the honor and the privilege of speaking with Panda Ross. Panda has a phenomenal testimony that I'm sure is going to inspire you. And she's using her story to motivate and encourage people everywhere through her new podcast. I can't wait for you to hear from this extraordinary woman. But before we do, let's take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Panda Land. This is going to be your exciting weekly discussion on everything from current events to personal insights. And I want you to join us every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. We're going to be on YouTube and across all social media platforms. Now, I don't want you to miss out on the excitement, okay? So join us at 7:30 every Wednesday, all social media platforms. All right, I'll see you there. Bye.
Looking for inspiration, motivation, and the good news of Jesus Christ? Look no further. The Daily Gospel Network has what you need. With more than 300 ministries from all over the country broadcasting every week, you're sure to get your dose of spirit-filled encouragement from the great programs on the Daily Gospel Network. Catch the Daily Gospel Network on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, all mobile devices, and the internet.
Welcome back to the Daily Gospel Talk Show. I'm your host, George Sanders, and today's show is going to inspire, encourage, and motivate you. I have Panda Ross on today. Panda has a testimony that will make you cry and laugh, but most of all, it will inspire and motivate you to be better. Panda and I are going to talk about her life, her family, her addiction, her recovery, her podcast, and so much more. This is an episode of the Daily Gospel Talk Show you don't want to miss. So without further ado, it's my privilege to welcome Panda Ross to the show. Panda Ross, how are you today?
I am good. I'm actually excellent. It's a beautiful day outside. I've been singing a song called Good Morning Mercy. So, hey, it's making me feel real good this morning.
I ain't mad at you. Listen, we had a little opportunity to talk off air. And one thing I want to compliment you on, you got a beautiful smile. You're always upbeat. I mean, listen, if I could give you some advice.
Yes.
Not that my advice and $2 would get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks or something like that. But I would say this: keep that personality, keep that character about yourself, because it's infectious. You know, you got me smiling, you smiling, I'm smiling, we're all smiling. I'm sure the listening audience.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And I work at Starbucks, so that coffee is gonna be.
Well, look at that. Don't let this brother creep up on you and be like, where's my first cup of, I want a latte today.
Yeah, I got you.
I appreciate that. Well, listen, man, let's get straight into it. Speaking of singing,
okay.
We want to talk about you. You know, you've been on the X Factor. You've done some really cool stuff with your voice. When did you know you had the gift to do it?
You know what? I to this day, you cannot tell me I'm a good singer. I know people tell me that all the time, but then I hear all these other singers, and I'm like, I'm really not that good of a singer, but I can keep a beat. Even at church, you know, when I'm leading worship, I'm always the one that's a little off. But I have always loved to sing. And my grandmother, growing up with my grandmother, she used to take us to church all the time, and she made us get in the church choir. And so I've always loved singing. I never did get the lead part in any of the songs when I was younger. You know, that was left to the pastor's grandkids. But hey, I always tried to sing louder than them. So make sure everybody, if I don't get the lead, at least you can hear me singing. So yeah, I've just been singing my whole life. And I think in the 7th grade, I sang a song called Missing You by Diana Ross in a talent show that we had. And I won the talent show. So I guess if you could say, when did I realize I could sing, I guess then, because I was like, ooh, I won. I won. So I have always sang, love singing, and hey, even if, well, we ain't gonna get into my whole testimony background, but I used to sing so much that even when I was out in the streets on drugs, people would ask me to sing. Sing for me, and I'm gonna give you some drugs. I sing, and they compensate me for my singing.
Let me tell you something about you. Can I tell you? Look, like I said, even when you're talking about a situation like that, it still puts a grin on my face and a smile on me. You're the type of person that transforms lives. I'm telling you. And
Wow.
we talked a little bit about this off air as well. See, God uses us, our situations. Now, He's not the orchestrator of nothing bad. All
Right.
right. So
Right.
we have free will, and sometimes we get ourselves in situations that we shouldn't be in.
That's
But
right.
God sometimes allows these things because He already sees the future, that
Yeah.
you're going to be victorious like you are now, but you're
Amen.
going to have a testimony that is going to just absolutely transform people. And you're doing it already. And plus you're gifted, right?
Amen.
So
Come on now.
so I so now I don't know if the seventh grade was your big musical break, but when was your big break? When you say, okay, all right, this
You
is
know
it?
what? I've been, come June 6th of next year, I'll be with Starbucks for 20 years. I've always worked in downtown Dallas. Across the street from downtown Dallas is the Fox 4 news station. Everybody has always called me their singing barista. So they literally come to Starbucks to see me or to hear me sing or to dump all their problems on me while they have a cup of coffee. So they were this show, X Factor with Simon Cowell. It came to town and they started telling me, hey Panda, there's this show coming to town. You need to try out for this show. You need to try out for this show. And I said, no, I can't do that. I lead worship in my church. You know, I sing all these Sam Cooke songs and different songs here in the store, but I don't want to go to Hollywood because you know it's a lot of crazy stuff going on in Hollywood. I'm just gonna stay here in my church and sing. And then my church had a situation, and so where we thought we were about to renew the lease at our building, we got kicked out of our building. So the pastor brought all the people together, and he was like, "Hey, you know, we got to come up with this amount of money, and we got to do it in such a in a short time." And you know, I think they called me in because they know I'm a faithful tither and I give, but not so much to figure out how we gonna do it. Just pay your money and give your offering. And I was like, I got it, I got it. I know what we're gonna do. I know how to get the money. And they were like, because there was a prize of $5 million if you win, you know. And I was like, and so as I'm trying to tell them, I think it's more like you just be quiet, Panda. We got this. You just help us out with the money. And I was like, okay, okay. And then I got sick with pneumonia, and I was in the hospital for 7 days. But I got that call, and they said, "We need you. You've been picked. You've been chosen, and Simon wants to see you. You have bypassed all of, you know. You don't have to go through all the other stuff the other people go do. You can go right in front of Simon, but you need to get here now." Look, I told that doctor, "You're gonna let me go voluntarily or involuntarily because I'm about to leave," and that's what I did. I took off to Austin, went to. Sing Before Simon, got all four yeses from him, Demi Lovato, Britney Spears, all of them. They were giving me rave reviews, and that's where it all started. I went 2012, 2013, and then after making it to the top 40 both those times, I was through with it. You know, I'm gonna do local stuff and travel and stuff. But 2018, they called me back and they flew me to London, and I made it to the top 13. I know I'm kind of crazy.
Girl, you need to stop it. Wow. Now, and here you are being really like, well, I listen to other people when they sing. Come on, stop it now.
For
That
real,
is
because I can't.
incredible.
I'm a female tenor. Like people got like you know like my best friend, all them they can hit notes that I can't even imagine. So like when I compare myself to a singer, I'm thinking of a singer can go anywhere. I only got so far I can go.
Well, let me tell you. So a lot of times when we think it's conventional,
Hmm.
right? You're
Yeah,
saying, well, how did you put it? Your what kind of tenor are you? Your
female
female.
tenor, a
Okay.
female, and
What
women
you're trying
mostly
to do.
are alto or up. I'm a female tenor.
Well, you try to put something in a box, and sometimes just because it's not conventional doesn't mean that it ain't right,
That's
right? So
okay.
apparently, with all of these accolades that you already have, and that you have been anointed, if you will, by God, and you've been recognized by, people who are experts. Simon Cowell's, by
He's a
all accounts,
learner.
is considered an expert at picking out talent. Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
All right, then. So we need to raise you up on that humility thing. I get it. You don't want to go around tooting your own horn. I'm going to toot it for you, okay? All right.
Okay.
So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Now we got a podcast coming out. So
Yes.
now I'm hoping that you leverage all of this to really promote this podcast. Can you tell the listener audience what the podcast is going to be about, who you're going to have on
Yes.
it?
This podcast. It's called Welcome to Panda Land, but it is not just about Panda's Land. This is a place where anybody can come into. It's a safe place that we're going to be talking about different subjects, things that are going on all around the world, of course, from a Christian view. You know what I mean? But we're going to be talking about it all. And so I just hope that people are ready. I did my first show, and I did my first show with my daughter. Just 2 days ago, we aired it. And already we've gotten like 600 views, like 80 comments, none of them negative, 70 likes or no, like 80 something likes. And so I was really surprised because I wasn't expecting that because I looked
Mm.
at how many views does a podcast normally get the first time? It's at 30 or 40. So when I wake up the next day and I'm at almost 300 views, I was like, okay, now look at all these comments and views. And it's still continuing on. So it's just an awesome place. We talked about mother-daughter relationships, children-parent relationships. And then this next podcast, we're going to be having Christiana Smith with us, and we will be talking about making of a lady and trauma, victory over trauma. We're also going to be talking about sexual abuse. So a lot of good stuff coming up. And even I got my show after that is about nurses. We're going to have different nurses from the city of Dallas. They're going to come together and just talk to us about, nurse life and the things that they went through during COVID and just all the pros and cons about being a nurse in the field today.
Wow, wow, and wow.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that you incorporate your daughter in this, and so is she going to be a co-host, or just kind of just on this show, or is it any
Nice.
plans?
No, she won't be a co-host. This is going to be me, but she
Okay.
that first show, she even is the one that suggested to me. I know you want to start your podcast on the first, but Mom, you should do something like a Mother's Day special because we have been through a lot. As I told you,
Mm.
I'll try to make it real quick. I was born in prison to a drug addict mother. Where my grandmother, she raised me, so my whole life was just kind of messed up. At 13, I was doing drugs. By the time I had both my kids, I had smoked crack with my son. So I was like 7 months pregnant. And so I had left both the kids for a period of time. When I came back, my daughter kind of expected things to pick up where they left off. But I was such a mess, I had to relearn how to become a mother. But after going through the Christian rehab home, I did that. But it came with a lot of ups and downs. Our relationship is just taking us a long time to get on course. And it seems we take 2 steps forward, then we take, 10 steps backward. So it's been a journey, but now we have gotten to a place of mutual respect, and we have a safe place where we can come and talk to each other. And when I'm getting on her nerves, she knows how to tell me you're doing too much. And when she getting on mine, I tell her the same thing. You're doing too much. But we're
Amen.
good now. So we were trying to, relive that and let other people know that you can get through these things, because as Black people, sometimes we tend to say that counseling is for white people, but we need it. We need it because we go through a lot, and we tend to think we're strong, but hey, a little help won't hurt. So yeah.
Right, right. And sometimes we say these things because it's a cop out.
Yeah.
I know for me, getting therapy, um, just to be able to talk to somebody that ain't in my situation,
Mm-hmm.
meaning they don't really know me like that, and be able to give an objective point of view, or just to listen to me without being judgmental. Sometimes when you're close to people and you're trying to talk to them, they may be part of the issue you have.
Right.
You really can't talk to them and have them be objective about the thing that you need to talk about. So sometimes, just listen, I believe in prayer like nobody else, but
Mm-hmm.
I also believe in seeking help, because God has anointed a lot of these people to be gifted.
Right.
They've gone through the proper education. They have a passion, to help others. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you sit down with a professional, I mean, a person has a heart and and the desire to help others in this capacity, when you can, and I've sat down with, you know, uh, two or three that have just been like, I mean, been mind blowing experiences where I was able to reveal things that I didn't even know that I had harboring inside.
Wow.
So you're absolutely right. We black folks
Yes.
need to be at least. I'm not saying all black folks need to go to therapy. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I'm just saying we need to at least be open minded. Not only open minded as it pertains to us going to therapy, but when your brother, or your sister, or somebody else tells you that, don't look at them with the
Yes.
side eye and dismiss them and like, oh, they crazy.
Right.
Why you spending your insurance money on that, or whatever the case is? They need to be more supportive, and they need to be more open minded. Now, I'm gonna tell you something here,
Right.
Panda Rose.
Yeah.
You got a book in here somewhere. I mean, I'm not even
You know
somewhere.
what?
You got a book
I
that's
have a
got to
book
be.
in the making. I did not. I've always wanted to write a book, and I wanted to write a book, and I want. But this is the year that I finally decided I'm going to stop procrastinating and doing everything that I want to do. Because, like I told you, come June 6th of next year is my 20 years with Starbucks, and it's also my exit date with Starbucks. And I said I need to start working on my plan. What is my plan? What am I going to do? And there's so many things I love doing: singing, I love talking, and I
Mhm.
feel like I don't meet a stranger. Everybody I meet, like I'm hugging the people, and people's like shaking. We go to reach their hand out to me, and I'm grabbing them and hugging them. And I was just like, everybody can't do that. Just really just automatically connect with people, and so I figured that's a good knack for a talk show, And I was like, I need to do that. There's so
Absolutely.
many things that I want to do, and I'm working on my exit plan. But I'm writing that book, and I'm on chapter 2 now. I had to talk about my grandmother who raised me, and now I'm starting now in my while I'm writing. I'm in the part where I'm in my beating up people in the first grade. but, but yeah, I'm talking about my elementary years right now. But it'll be out soon. Promise me before. I promise you by the end of the year, everything's gonna be done.
You can't leave out beating up little Stevie Jacobs in the first grade. You can't leave that part out. That's a key
Look,
element.
I would tell them all the time. People be asking me questions. I'm saying, look, I said I have always been friendly. I've always loved people. Now, y'all knew I grew up with my grandmother, and I've always been fat, and I've always been dark skinned and a little different. But y'all didn't have to make fun of me. I just wanted to be y'all's friend, and it's sad, but I had to beat you up first and then make you my friend. But after
All
I beat
right.
you up, we was all good, playing tetherball on the playground, and we was good. But we had to go through that. Let me beat you up first to let you know you got to respect me. I don't care how my hair
That's
look.
right.
But we
It's Panda. It's the natural progression of bonding. I
Yes.
gotta beat I gotta beat you up first, and then we become friends. See that everybody works that way.
And they tease me about that because you know what? I think in my drug life, I might have forgot some of the stuff that I did. And so, I would start doing all kinds of stuff. Some of my old school friends contacted me back and they were like, Pam, do you remember when you beat JD up and ran her home? And I was like, well, I don't remember that. I don't think I wouldn't have did that. You did that. You did
JD, JD remembers that. That is funny.
that.
You know what? You are a fascinating woman, and listen, I think, like I said before, the spirit that you have about yourself. Some people will look at you right now and they'll say, "That's impossible.
Yeah.
There's no way that she experienced. Look at her now. Look how beautiful she is, and the smile on her face, and the character, and the this and the that." And people will say that about you, and not understanding from where you have come from,
Yes. Yeah.
and testimony that you have is inspiration for others, and that's such a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the podcast because I'm sure that you're going to be sprinkling a few of these
Yeah.
things that you've been through, and things that how you have been triumphant in these things.
Yes.
Where will they be able to catch Welcome to Panda World?
Well,
Panda Land.
I on all of course on all of my social media pages, I have a main Facebook page which is already filled up with 5,000 people, but it's open to the public, so you can see all the stuff on there. but I'll have it on on that Facebook page. I have two fan pages, and it'll also be there. I have an Instagram, I have TikTok, I have a YouTube channel. So that's mainly where I'm going to put everything first is on my YouTube channel. So all the episodes will be there. And the next episode, which we're going to be talking about victory over trauma with Christiana Smith, and that is going to air on the 29th of this month. And so after that, it'll be a week by week. Every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m., a new show will be posted on my YouTube channel at Real Panda
Awesome.
Gospel.
Well, what we're going to do, we're going to have all your information on the screen, and they'll be able to find out where they can view it, because I'm sure it's going to be not only inspiration, but it's going to be educational, and it is going to inspire some folks.
That is
You
sure
know,
looking to
as
do.
we talk about your life and some of the things you've mentioned, you mentioned some things that a lot of people, Panda, quite frankly, would throw in the towel.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. So you had mentioned that you were born in prison. Is that correct?
Yeah, born in prison, raised by my grandmother.
And then, in 13 years old, you start using and abusing
Smoking
drugs.
weed, drinking alcohol, sleeping with men old enough probably to be my father. And once my
Wow.
grandmother found out about that, she was like, "You got to go to Dallas and stay with your aunt." She moved me to Dallas, and I was
Mm.
trying to be good so I could make it back to New Mexico with her. But
But
I was good for a little while. But then, of course, them demons they followed me, and I started getting into
mm,
trouble here, and I ended up fighting as always. I remember when I got to the ninth grade. That was the last grade of school that I actually attended, because I got kicked out of all of DISD because I cut this girl with a box cutter, and they they I this is a crazy quick. I hope we got enough time. I'm tell this quick little story.
yeah. We got
Back then,
you.
I used to,
Look, every time we get to something, you unfolded something else. So we might have to make this into a two-part
but this is, I promise,
documentary.
I talk fast. I'm gonna make it quick. So I was
Wow.
wearing a jerry curl, and my hair was going. It was looking real good, and it was cute. And with this jerry curl, it started, it started getting to where I needed to redo it. And so what I did is I put a perm on my head instead of a curl, and then that perm took out all of my hair in the back of my head. And so my grandmother had come down to visit me, and she took me to the beauty supply, and we bought me a cute little jerry curl wig. And so I thought I was real cute when I went to school, and then this girl started talking about me. And then I got really angry because there was this cute little white cowboy boy that I liked, and she was making fun of me and him in front of it. So when school was out, I was waiting on her at the bus stop, and I beat her up, and she kind of was starting to get the best of me. I had a little box cutter, so I just cut her out because she had took my wig off in front of that boy, and I wasn't having it. I
My
said, she go.
goodness.
But after that, they said, "No, ma'am, we've had a lot of problems out of you, so we are kicking you out of
You
DIS
got to go.
together."
Wow.
And that's what they did. And I ended up going to a trade school to get a GED and a nursing certificate, and that was it. But even there, I met my kid's father, and then he ended up turning me on. He was doing cocaine. I started doing crack cocaine with him to try to keep him at home for me. He ended up going to prison. I kept on doing drugs, got pregnant with my son, and smoked crack with him till I was 7 months pregnant, and almost got raped. I got raped and got almost killed over here in South Dallas in front of the Fair Park. And I was sitting on a corner crying out, buck naked. I love to say it like that because that's what I was. Because he had kicked me and ran off and said he was through. And I remember running all these people's houses trying to get in, and somebody finally called the police or the ambulance because I heard them come. And when they came, they came and got me. And I just cried out to the Lord, Lord, look, if you just take the taste of these drugs away from me, because I had already been out on a mission for like 3 days getting high, and I was just saying, take these drugs away from me. And it was January. It was a guy that approached me in December of '99, and he told me about the Christian rehab that they had. And I listened to him because, like I said, I grew up in church with my grandmother, but I had been and left the Lord a long time ago. And I kept that card with me everywhere I go. They used to have hotels you could check into for a few minutes and get high and then leave. And I did that. And I remember paying to get back in to get that card. I kept that card with me everywhere I went for 3 weeks. And January 25th, 1997, another time that my grandmother was here visiting, I called her. She hung up the phone. I called her back. I said, I'm serious. I found somewhere this time, because she would always tell me, because by this time, now she's raised her 12 kids, raised me and my two sisters. Now she's raising my two kids. I knew it wasn't fair. Either I had to make an intelligent decision to turn it around, or it was going to be a whole bunch of generational curses. And I just said, this is it. It's time for me to make the right decision. And that's what I did. And it's been since January 25th, 1997 to this day here. At this point, I ain't touched no cocaine. I don't drink. I don't do alcohol. I don't smoke cigarettes. I ain't never smoked cigarettes, but never, no more weed, nothing. I'm just, I'm high on Jesus.
So 20 some years of sober.
25 almost. Yeah. About 24, 25, 1997. Yeah. And trust me, it was years of before then, like 11 or 12 years of straight, just getting high, just in and out of jail, in and out of prison. Just everything was a mess.
I know people done told you this before.
But
It's a remarkable testimony.
yeah.
I listen, you gonna transform, you are transforming lives now. This podcast, the things that you're doing, let me just tell you, whatever the Daily Gospel Network's got to do to help you get your word out, get your message out, get your testimony out, we're 100% behind you, because I'm flabbergasted. I mean, because as I look and hear you now, I'm saying, wow, sounds like a movie you're talking about. Sounds
Yeah.
like a book you
Even
read.
as I'm rewriting the book,
It doesn't feel right.
He's reminding me of stuff that I forgot. And I'm like, whoa, man, I've been through a lot.
And you get into it though, and I'm loving the idea of you, bonding with your children. I like the idea of that you now are figuring out, what it is that you can give back to society to help folks out, and it's a beautiful thing. So I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, we're just about out of time. I'm going to promise everybody I'm going to have
One more
all.
thing. I just want to say one more thing. I promise I'll make
Go
it.
ahead.
By making that intelligent decision, I have two beautiful children who, thank God that I got saved early enough when they were little, that I raised in church, that neither one of them have ever, been on drugs like me or in and out of prison like me. Both my kids finished high school, went to college. Both my son, the school teacher, my daughter, she works for Blue Cross Blue Shield. They're both productive citizens, and so I've never had to go visit them in prison like my grandmother had to do me. So I believe that the curse was broken. So thank God for
I
that.
know it is, and so the work that your grandmother put in, the Bible says, train up and they
Hmm.
won't depart, and so sometimes we stray away, but at the end of the day, we find some way to come back, and we just so thankful that God has had grace and mercy on your life, that you had the opportunity to come back, and now look what you're doing. So Panda Ross, I salute you, sweetheart. Thank you for
Thank you for having me
everything you're
on your
doing. So
show.
keep
I
it up.
appreciate you. Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate you for real.
It is our pleasure. So we want to thank Panda Ross for being. And listen, we're gonna have all of her information. I want you to check her podcast out on all the social media outlets, and I got a surprise for her when we get off this thing. We're gonna get her on the Daily Gospel Network.
Hey.
This is something that cannot be. We need to put her on as many outlets and platforms as possible. So we want to thank her for spending her precious time with us. We want to thank the listening audience for tuning in today. I'm sure that you have been blessed today with this content. I know that you can. And next week, we're going to strive to bring you this kind of content. I can't promise, because this woman right here, she did it all today. What an amazing show. So tune in with us next week. So until then, I want you to do me two favors. Number one, stay safe. And number two, let the Lord bless upon you. Why? Because you are his child. You are a child of God. So accept those blessings. Until next week, stay safe. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning into the Daily Gospel Talk Show with your host, George Sanders. The talk show and podcast dedicated to spotlighting great people doing great things. Join us next time for your weekly dose of inspiration, motivation, and encouragement. So until then, stay safe and God bless from your friends at the Daily Gospel Talk Show and host George Sanders.